Hi, well, as Audrey said, I'm Louise. I met Audrey through Heart to Heart, so I have some counselling background. I've done some psychotherapy training, but my main passion and what I do is a lot of coaching and doing a lot of personality typing stuff. But my real passion is self-awareness. So when Audrey said to me she wanted to start these events up, and she told me along to do a developing self-awareness workshop. So that's what we're going to do today. What does that entail? Well, I'm sure we've all got different ideas of what you've come here for and what you might get out of it. So in a minute we're going to have a chance just to chat amongst yourselves, get to know the people on your table, and to look at what is it you want to get out of today, so that I have an idea, so that we can begin to meet some of your expectations. But I guess you're probably wondering a little bit about me. I run a company called UQ, Understanding People. You'll see the cards on the table, that's the only thing I've got to show you who I am. And I started that about 6 months ago, and run a couple of training courses called Understanding Your Team and Understanding Your Customers, based on becoming self-aware about yourself and the differences with different people that you're going to interact with in those things. So this is just a little sideline, but hopefully you'll get something out of that today. So we just want to take a couple of minutes. You've probably already got to know some of the people on your table, but just to think, there's some post-it notes there, and I just want you to pop down and say, what is it that I'm hoping to get out of today? And so that we can look back at the end of the day and really see if we've begun to meet your expectations. Alright, just a couple of minutes then. Alright then. Sorry. I'm getting a little bit nervous, I've got a lot to be up to. There's ferocious scribbling on everything. Folks at home, if any of these things that I'm doing, if you want to take the time to do that yourself, whether you want to enter the chat room and stuff, or to spend that time doing that by yourself as well, I'm happy for you to do either, whatever you get the most out of as well. So, do people want to just share a little bit of what it is you want to get out? And I'll just stick them up here, I think, that's probably the easiest, and then we can just keep an eye on them throughout the morning.
I'm just hoping to get skills to be more aware of myself when I'm with my client.
Okay.
I had a thing about overlaps or links between coaching and counselling.
Yeah.
For me, it's more about personal development. I've got an interest in self-awareness and emotional intelligence, and see how the two link together.
Okay. Anything different that I need to encompass while I'm quite similar stuff? Yeah. When we have our next break, if you want to just put those up there and stick them up, and then I can keep an eye on them throughout the morning. Alright, well, just to give you a little bit more detail about what we're going to do in the next 3 hours, I have a general rule that I don't do any training by humiliation. I don't think it works, and I also would never ask somebody to do something that I wouldn't want to do myself. I hate drama, I hate roleplay, all that stuff, so there'll be none of that, just quite a lot of chat, and I know that you probably all quite enjoy that. So the first section is, we've called it Understanding My Clients. So I'm going to go through 3 different tools that are very simple but highly effective to help you get into the understanding of understanding different people and how all of us come from things at a different angle, so that you can have some tools to understand yourself a little bit better, but also to maybe understand where your clients are coming from. So that's where you'll learn the bulk of the tools this morning, but the second part of the morning, we're going to take a little bit of time out to really look at who you can be for your clients. We've all gone through very similar training, but actually we're all individuals, and who can we individually be for our clients or wherever we're placed? Because it's all about becoming more of yourself rather than trying to be somebody else. And I think if you can mirror that for your clients, then that maybe can help them as well. So we're going to kick off now, looking at, did it work?
Yeah, it did work.
It's just a bit slow. It's a Saturday morning, you can't blame it, can you? Okay. The meta model. Has anybody heard of the meta model? This is an NLP based model that's evolved from there. So this is where you can see a little bit of the coaching linking in here. It looks, I'm sure you've all come across perception and how actually there's reality, and we think that our perception of reality is reality. But there's 25 of us in this room, and I can bet your bottom dollar that not all of us are seeing exactly the same thing right now. If I was to tell you that there are 3 billion pieces of information available to us at any 1 second, it's a little bit overwhelming, isn't it?
Yes, yesterday morning, yeah.
Yeah. You think you're quite intelligent, and then you realise that there must be so much we miss. So this model is based on this. It's actually about how reality, we actually think our perception of reality is reality, and it's not. We all see something slightly different in this room right now. And if you can imagine, if we're all seeing something different, how when you come to something with a client, how they may see something completely different from you. So the meta model will start with reality, so reality being anything that's in existence, so conversations, this event happening now, people, feedback, your environment, these are all reality, but we have a perception of what's going on. Because if there are 3 billion pieces of information available to us as human beings, no matter how intelligent we are, can only take in 60 pieces of information in any 1 second. So you imagine you've got 30 billion here, and we've got to whittle it down to 60. Now there are 3 things that we will do to be able to control that information, to be able to use it, to process it, to be able to be human and stay alive and living in the world. So there are 3 things. The first one is deletion. From a very early age, if you're not susceptible to certain things, you will actually just delete them right out of your mind. You will never ever notice them. Have you ever seen, you've gone to buy a new car, and then suddenly every car on the road, you keep seeing this car on the road all the time? Well, they've always been there, but it's just because you've not been tuned in to noticing it. Another one for me, I hated cartoons as a child. I know it's really sad, but I hated them, and so anything to do with cartoons now just goes right past my head. People have quizzes about TV programmes and cartoons when you're younger, and I can't engage with them because I've never taken it into my memory bank. I've completely deleted it out. So that's the first bulk of information we'll just delete. I want you just to say into your hand, spin and pin.
Spin, pin.
Okay. Did you notice the difference? So you can hear a difference in the air on your hand. Now we, as an English-speaking country, hear no difference in that language. But to somebody from China, that is as different as R and FR. I've got to get R and L in the Chinese language. So it's like fried rice. Is when you go to Chinese restaurants, sometimes sounds funny. That's because they've got differences in their language that we have never ever been aware of. So we'll never notice the difference between spin and pin, but when you say it into your hand, that is as acutely as how aware they are of the difference. But because we've never been brought up with that, we just delete all of it, and we're just not aware of it. In the same way they'll delete the R and the L, and so therefore find those words difficult. So we've got rid of a bulk of the information now. So the next thing we do with the rest of it is we distort it. If any of you are married here, this is where you'll begin to understand why you're always right.